Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast, and in this episode I'm going to be reviewing Class Episode 5. If you haven't watched yesterday's episode where I reviewed Class Episode 4, go check that out. But before we get to my review, here we have the cast list, which will be starting with the main cast followed by the recurring / guest cast afterwards. So we have Greg Austin as Charlie, Fadi El-Sayed as Ram, Sophie Hopkins as April, Vivian Opera as Tanya, Catherine Kelly as Miss Quill, that's the main cast, with Georgian Renzo as Mateusz, Paul Mark Davis as Corkinius, Pookie Quesnell as Dorothea, Shannon Murray as Jackie, Natasha Gordon as Vivian, Nigel Betts as Francis, Con O'Neill as Hugh, Anna Schaffer as Rachel, and Ben Peel as Coach Dawson, and that is the guest cast joining the main cast. The writer of this episode was Patrick Ness, with the director being Philippa Langdale. The synopsis is that battling through the Shadowkin realm, April knows that there is no going back. She has to defeat Corkinius. On Earth, the invasion of the Petals is rapidly snowballing. Confronted with the threat of the planet's extinction, new headmistress Dorothea attempts to force Charlie into making a transformational decision, but Miss Quill has other ideas for her. As Charlie, Mateusz and Tanya try to stop the Petals from annihilating the human race, April must fight the terrifying force of Corkinius light years away from home. This episode was released on the 12th of November 2016. My previous episode is I'd like seeing April become king of the Shadowkin, a little bit of a spoiler, but it's a review anyway. Loved how both of April's parents as well as Ram's father reacted to what Ram and April were doing, and enjoyed seeing Charlie choose to do the right thing. But without further ado, here's my review of Class Episode 5. We have the previously recap, and Ram attempts to hide from the Shadowkin. April kills one of the Shadowkin. April plans on killing Corkinius. We then have the title sequence. Miss Quill tells Dorothea how powerful the object inside her head is. Miss Quill believes that Dorothea is a robot. Tanya fills in April's parents about April sharing her heart with Corkinius. Miss Quill finds out that Charlie lied to her about the Cabinet of Souls. April fills in Ram about them being on the Shadowkin's planet known as the Underneath. April demonstrates to Ram that they can't return home the way they left. Charlie tells Mateusz, April's parents, and Tanya about a conversation with Miss Quill. Ram references Lord of the Rings. April's parents, Charlie, Mateusz and Tanya, learn the full power of the self-duplicating flower petals. Ram talks to April about his religion. Corkinius knows where April and Ram are. Miss Quill slaps Charlie. Charlie and Miss Quill disagree over Charlie's actions. Tanya tells Ram's father about the events of episode 4. Dorothea suggests a place where April's parents should stay until Ram and April return. Miss Quill reminds Charlie about the true price they both paid due to the actions of the Shadowkin. April's mother and Ram's father argue over Ram and April. Tanya sets the record straight for Ram's father and April's parents. April and Ram kiss. April's mother explains to Tanya what she is feeling. Dorothea attempts to force Charlie to use the Cabinet of Souls by pointing a gun at Mateusz. Mateusz reminds Charlie what kind of person he will become if he chooses to use the Cabinet of Souls. Mateusz sends Tanya a text message whilst continuing to be threatened by Dorothea wielding a gun. April and Corkinius have a sword fight. Mateusz reminds Charlie he isn't alone anymore. Tanya and April's father get April's mother to create a vivid image of April in her head. April and Ram's fathers enter the Underneath. April's father explains to April's father explains to April the difference between him and her. April becomes king of the Shadowkin. April puts Corkinius in the Shadowkin's version of prison. Ram and April return home. Tanya fills in April and Ram about the self-duplicating flower petals. Mateus knocks out Dorothea. April orders the Shadowkin to save Earth and the human race. Charlie chooses to do the right thing and not kill the Shadowkin. Miss Quill destroys a car. Dorothea still plans on keeping to her word and will help Miss Quill get her freedom back. Ram and April say goodbye to each other. April asks her father to leave. April's mother Zerba stand up again, and the episode finishes off with a trailer for episode 6. Next time on the Everything Podcast, I'll be reviewing Class episode 6. So let me know what you thought about Class episode 5. If you watched it, my review didn't, you can put both of your thoughts on those in the comments below, as well with anything else you want me to cover on the channel. It could be a review suggestion for a TV show or a movie, it could be some news, it could be a newspaper, it could be a book, it could be a comic, etc. Just put those in the comments below as well. And remember, you can also like, comment and subscribe, and that's it for this episode of the Everything Podcast. Goodbye.